All right, this is 8th grade, Module 4, Lesson 17. The line joining two distinct points on a graph. We're going to use this formula, y equals mx plus b. That is the slope formula. And as I've kind of mentioned to you in the last two previous lessons, that we're going to use the variable m to represent our slope. All right, so I'm going to move this up here. Find at least 3 solutions to the equation y equals 2x and graph the solutions as points on a coordinate plane. Connect the points to make a line. Find the slope of the line. So you're going to want to grab some graph paper for these. Now on your graph paper, please make sure that you put exercise number 1. Because we do have example ones, and I don't want to get those confused. So when I grade your paper, please make sure it says exercise 1, and then go ahead and draw your graph. So we're going to use this equation y equals 2x, and I'm going to create an x and y chart. And these will give me the coordinates that I will then go back and graph. All right, so I'm going to pick 0, 1, and 2. They just wanted 3 solutions. So there you go. Keep it nice and simple. Now, of course, you could have picked 1, 2, and 3, but we're just going to pick these for right now. To solve this out, this would be y equals 2 times 0. So 2 times 0 gives me 0. Y equals 2 times 1. 2 times 1 gives me 2. And finally, y equals 2 times 2, which is 4. So these are my coordinates. My coordinates are going to be 0, 0, 1, 2, and 2, 4. Now, you guys will have some graph paper, but I'm going to kind of give you a little makeshift of what it's going to look like here. So my highest x value is 2, so I don't need to make this very big, nor make it too small that it's hard to graph. And then my highest y value is a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep in mind that this is not an exact perfect graph because I'm not using graph paper nor a ruler of any sorts here, but this will give you a general idea. I'm going to graph my first point of 0, 0. I'm going to go over 1 up 2. For my next point, over 2 up 4. For my last, a little too high there, up 4. Now if you have a ruler, of course you're going to connect all those dots into a nice straight line. It's kind of hard to do on a tablet. But your graph should resemble something that looks like this. Now, please make sure you do use a ruler because I do grade on neatness. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. Find at least 3 solutions for this equation here. All right, so we have y equals 3x minus 1. And again, we're going to go ahead and graph this and find the slope of the line. Oh, I did not find the slope of the line on that last one. Let me go back up real quick. Oops, wrong direction. The slope of the line here is going to be 2. And I'm going to tell you the easiest way to remember that. Your slope intercept, your slope formula, I should say, is y equals mx plus b. As we learned in the previous lessons, m equals your slope. So an easy way to remember this is slope is the number in front of your x. And that's it. Because it's always going to be m and then x. They're always going to be multiplied together. So once you get m next to your x, if you have to move things around to do that, then m is your slope. It's the number in front of x. Easy way to remember. All right, now I can go back to number 2. So we have y equals 3x minus 1. And as I just showed you, what's our slope going to be? Well, here's our mx. So our slope is 3. Our m is 3. There you go. Now I can make my xy chart. I'm going to pick 3 solutions again. 1, 2, 3. There we go. I'm going to plug those in. So this is y equals 3 times 0 minus 1. Well, 3 times 0 is 0. 0 take away 1 gives me negative 1. The next one is y equals 3 times 1 minus 1. Well, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 take away 1 gives me 2. And the final one is y equals 3 times 2 minus 1. Well, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 take away 1 gives me 5. So my coordinates are going to be 0, negative 1, 1, 2, and 2, 5. Now on this one, since I do have a negative value for my y, I need to have this line go a little bit longer than this one. And that allows me to have that negative 1 there. This, of course, is my origin, which is 0, 0. And then my highest x value, again, is a 2. So we're going to go 1, 2. And then we have the highest we need to go here is 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my coordinates here. I have 0, negative 1, which would be right about here. 1, 2, and 2, 5. Now, of course, this is not a perfect exact graph. As I can already tell, I'm kind of sloping there, kind of moving away from my straight line, but yours should be nice and straight because you're using graph paper and a ruler. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 3. Find at least 3 solutions for this graph. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set you up, and then you're going to take it from there. And again, what's our slope? All right, so you're going to tell me what our slope is, and then I'm going to give you the x values. We're going to use the same x values we've been using, and you're going to go ahead and solve this out. Find your y values, find your coordinates, all right, and then go ahead and place them on a graph. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 says, the graph of an equation is y equals 7x minus 3. What is our slope? Well, again, as I told you, it's y equals mx plus b. So what number is in the m sections? We have our y, we have our equals, we have our m, x, and in this case, it's actually minus b. And that sometimes happens. You can subtract your b, or your b can be negative, I should say. So what is my m? It is 7. So m equals 7. Our slope is 7. Now this one just has a fraction, but it's the same thing. This is y equals mx, and in this case, minus b again. Now, if you notice, the 3/4 is a negative. That's okay. You can have a negative slope because slopes can go into the negative area, in the sense that it's going in the opposite direction of a positive slope, I should say. There we go. So, negative 3/4. There you go. Number 6. You have $20 in your savings bank. Each week you add $2 to your savings. Let y represent the total number of money you have saved at the end of X weeks. Write your equation and identify your slope. So you don't need to graph these. So we have $20 in our savings. So that's what we're starting with. We're starting with $20. Each week we're going to increase by 2. So 2 times the weeks. We're going to add that to the 20 that's already in there. So every week we add $2 to our savings. X is the weeks, as it mentioned here. And at the end, that'll tell us our total money saved. So what is our slope? Our slope is the number in front of the x. So our slope is 2, also known as your constant. Some of us have remembered that, our constant rate of proportionality. Now, also, what does this represent? So this is, I'm going to use a different color here. The 2x is $2 per week plus the $20 in the account, or let's just put in the savings, equals our total amount. So the $20 is where we are starting with, or where we're starting from. I'm just going to call it our start. That's where we're starting. And our slope is 2. All right, let's look at number 7. Number 7 says a friend is training for a marathon. She can run 4 miles in 28 minutes. Assume she runs at a constant rate. Write the equation to represent the total distance y your friend can run in x minutes. And then find the slope. And then what does each number represent? So just what we did up above. This time we're going to say she can run 4 miles in 28 minutes. We're going to write it as a ratio. Now I could simplify this, but you don't need to at this point. You could just say equals y. But if you notice, I have y over my x. That's my friend here, okay? So what I want to do is get it into the format of y equals mx plus b. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cross multiply, and I wind up getting 4x equals 28y. And again, I want that y by itself, so I'm going to move that 28 over here. And to move it, I have to divide. That cancels it on that side. And I have y equals 4 over 28 times x. And now I can go ahead and simplify. 4 over 28 gives me 1/7. So we're going to say y equals 1 over 7 times x. So what is my slope? My slope is 1 over 7. And what does everything represent? This represents the ratio here that she can run 4 miles in 28 minutes. She's going to keep that constant rate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find the total y for your friend and how she can run in x minutes. So what does she keep consistently going by? And so our equation here was y equals 1/7 x, and our slope was 1/7. All right, let's go ahead and go on to the next one. I'm going to set you up for this one, and then you guys are going to finish this one up. Actually, you're going to finish this whole back page, but I'll go ahead and set you up for 8, and then 9, 10, and 11 will be graded. 4 boxes of pencils cost $5. Write an equation that represents the total cost of y for the x boxes of pencils. What is your slope, and what does each number represent? So $5 for 4 boxes of pencils. So I'm going to keep it a ratio of 5 to 4. This is a ratio, it's not a fraction. So you don't want to turn this into a mixed fraction because we want to keep it as a ratio. It's okay to have a larger number on top when we're talking ratios. So our total cost is going to be the $5 for every 4 boxes, and that's depending on how many boxes of pencils we purchase. So I kind of just walked you through verbally what each portion represents. I want you to go ahead and solve this out and tell me how much is 1 box. And what is the slope? So go ahead and do 9, 10, and 11. You're going to make sure you read the entire thing. Make sure that you are solving for what it asked you to solve for. All right. Actually, I'll set you up for number 9 because number 9 we didn't do something like that similar. We didn't do a similar problem to that. So I'll set it up and then you're going to finish it. Remember, you want it in y equals mx plus b. Now, if you notice, my y is being attached to this 3 right now. So I need to move some things around. I'm first going to go ahead and move my 9x. So I'm going to subtract 9x from this side, and I'm going to subtract 9x from this side. From what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. And this brings down a negative 3y equals negative 9x. Now I wrote this one first because, again, I want the x to come before the number without the x. Plus 15. I put plus 15 because the 15 here was positive. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that 3. And again, that's to get that y by itself. And what you do to one, you have to do to all of these. So these 3's cancel. And I'm left with y equals 3 goes into 9 3 times. And a negative equals a positive. x, and then I'm going to do that over here too. I'm going to divide this out. 3 goes into 15 5 times, and a positive and a negative equals a negative. All right, so there's your equation. You need to tell me the slope. Now you're going to do the exact same thing for 10, and then 11 is the same thing. They're just doing letters instead of numbers. So play with that one, see if you can get it. And that ends this tutorial.